Welcome back to Lafayette High School Ishmael Stadium for the White Greer Maggard Game of the Week, brought to you by PrepSpin.com, Kentucky's best and by far favorite digital network. What we're going to do today is we have a special guest, but before we do that, we're going to do what we usually do, and that is cover our UFOs. Now, we started this, Karen, I'll just talk to you too. We started this quite a few years ago, and what we call it is a UFO. A UFO is the unheralded football overachiever. And what I do is I talk to each coach a week before the game, and I ask them to give me the name of somebody and some information on somebody involved in their program, man or woman. It doesn't matter what, whether they're a custodian or a player or a coach or a booster or whatever, who goes above and beyond but gets a little credit for what they do. We like to honor those people. So today we're going to talk first of all about Bryan Station. Coach Frank Parks decided that his UFO, unheralded football overachiever, is his head freshman coach, Kedrick Seals. He's a Bryan Station graduate. Actually, I talked to him before the game, had a nice conversation. He's a wonderful young man. He's actually working on his doctorate right now. And he's an educator. He says, I am an educator. I'm a coach secondly. I'm an educator first. He's a great guy. He's working on his doctorate, but he's also was a student at Bryan Station. He talks about one of the things that Coach Park says he does is he actually works with students to prepare for the ACT program, the ACT tests. Not only does he help them prepare for the tests, but he helps some of them who can't afford it to find money to pay for the test themselves. Just does a super job. He has great organizational skills. He's able to delegate things off the field. Coach Parks says this is the kind of guy where if Coach Parks has a problem, he can turn to Kedrick Seals and give him some things to do. He knows he's going to do a good job. He's going to be organized. He's going to complete things and do a great job with it. He's a super asset to the football team at Bryan Station High School. He's a wonderful asset to the players and the players' parents. He has a love of the school, a love of the team. It was his alma mater. You can't beat that no matter what. Great guy. UFO for Bryan Station High School this week is Kedrick Seals. Now let's go to Lafayette. Talk to Coach Shaw. Coach Shaw, actually, I got some information from Alex Matthews about their UFO. Their unheralded football achiever is Trevante Walker, a player on the team, number 57. He's a junior. He's an inside linebacker for the Lafayette football team. Trevante is a starter on the JV team and a backup on the varsity team on Friday nights. The coaching staff at Lafayette believes that Trevante is more than just deserving of the UFO award because of what he does during the week. Everybody knows how important it is each week to prepare for the opposing team, and Devontae is a big part of that. He will give everything he can during the week to allow the offense and defense of the Lafayette football team to get ready for the opposing players that they're going to have to take care of. The offensive coaches who are in charge of lining up the scout team defense correctly, a lot of times Trevante is the one to do it. He's a leader on the field. He'll line up his own teammates the correct way and motivate him to make the right play. It's a difficult job to do. You don't get a lot of credit. You don't get a lot of love for it. And yet when you're preparing the team as what we call a scout team player, that's a real special thing to do. He makes his teammates better each week. He makes his teammates better each day. He loves the game. He loves the football team. He's a real special young man. So the Lafayette coaching staff can't wait to see his hard work pay off in the future because guys like him, they make it up, they climb the chart, and they end up doing a good job. So congratulations to Trevante Walker and to Kedrick Seals, both UFOs this week, unheralded football overachievers. Now, I'm going to talk to this young lady here beside me, Carol Huber. We have a little history. We actually work together. Let's talk a little bit about you, how you got started in education, and how you ended up as a dean of students.
Well, I have a wonderful story. It kind of reminds me of the story of you go on this journey, but you come back to where you started, but you had to go on that journey to appreciate where you are. I worked with you at Dunbar for numerous years. Then I went to Baltimore for 9 years. And I worked with inner city kids in Baltimore in a residential treatment center for girls. And then I went to a level 5 school where I worked with students from D.C. and Baltimore City. Then I had a young lady, a little girl, B, and I returned to Dunbar. That's what I know. And then this opportunity to work at Lafayette, where I attended school back in the early 90s. came open, and I had a chance to work with Brian Jacobs and David Scholl and Richard Royster, who all worked at Dunbar as well.
Right, we worked with David Scholl. I remember that. Yeah, right. Well, was he an English teacher?
He was a social
Oh, yeah,
studies
social
teacher.
studies teacher, right? Yeah, we had good times at Dunbar. Those were good years, and you did a really good job there too. And, I think you saw then, as you see now, that it's really important. And I'd like you to comment on this: how athletics and academics go together in a school that really cares.
Oh my goodness. The discipline of an athlete, the mental grit, the dedication, the commitment are skills that can be generalized into the classroom, right? All of our students are smart, but the students that excel are the ones who push through. They're out of their comfort zone to learn a new concept. They make the extra effort to meet the teacher after class. They're a part of a team. They help their fellow peers in class, and they encourage them. They don't put them down. They encourage them, and they're the role model.
Yeah, that's really important. And working with specifically because that's what we're doing tonight, working with Coach Shaw and the football staff. Is that a pleasure to you? You deal with those guys? They're pretty. I know Coach Shaw quite a well, and a couple other people on the staff. They're good people.
Oh my goodness. Well, since we're talking about football, I want everyone to know that I could say something similar about every program in our building. I love the staff. I'm not going anywhere because we are a team. Lafayette staff, from our cafeteria workers, from our custodians to our teachers, all the way to our professionals such as social workers, school psychologists. But specifically, Coach Shaw, Coach Matthews, I work with Coach Clark a lot, but I spend most of my time with Coach Shaw and Coach Matthews, and we are a team because I oversee discipline. And they work in the past room with students who need extra supports, making good decisions. So we often work together. And what he asks of his football players on the field is what he demonstrates, and he shows up for me inside the school building.
Okay, big question. What in the world, what does a dean of students do?
Everything. You name it.
That doesn't surprise me.
Sometimes you see me wheeling down the hallway with the wheelchair, right? But my job, which is so much fun, I have the best job in the world, is to put in place programs, procedures that prevent, decrease the opportunity for kids to make bad decisions, right? So as soon as they come in freshman year, I say, pick something. You need to pick something that so that you're involved with positive people. Archery, bass fishing, fashion club, anime club. We have it all. We have role-playing tabletop games. I don't even know what that is. But you always have an adult. You always have other kids to hold you accountable because when you're with people who don't have anything going on, it's easy to make a bad decision. And 14-year-olds, their brain's not fully developed, right? So you need that oversight.
Well, we talked about that already today. There's been a plethora of penalties in this game. I mean, and they're not like mean, aggressive penalties. They're all mistakes that young people make. Getting a little too excited, not quite, jumping before the ball snapped, and so on. All these penalties have consequences. And when you talk about young people, after I left Dunbar, I spent a little time at Martin Luther King Academy working with those young people. And again, you don't want to belabor points, but you have to make them understand that there are consequences, and as they get in adult life, there are consequences for what they do. But again, I agree with you 100%. When you have activities for them that take those make them lean a little bit toward that side, keeps them busy, and it's a good thing. And I bet the parents love that too.
Listen, this football team, every game day, I ask them what are their goals. And they say, for example, Xavier Douglas said, Miss Huber, I'm going to make 10 tackles. When I saw Tyrone Williams, he said, Miss Huber, I've been watching film. I'm going to have 15 blocks. called KJ Cooper. He said, Miss Huber, I'm going to have 2 picks. Last weekend, KJ Cooper said, Miss Huber, I'm going to do a pick 6. I'm like, you're too young to play the lottery. He's like, no, Miss Huber, I'm talking about picks. I said,
Wait,
okay.
you got to get with the lingo. All right, well, we're getting ready to start the second half, but I just want to say to you that I look forward to this. I know you hesitated a little bit of doing this, but we're friends. We can talk. That's all we're doing up here. So we're going to take a little break here in a second. I want to thank you very much. I think we learned a little bit about Lafayette. We're going to learn some more about them as time goes on. I'm just glad to see you back in the system, and we had some pretty good times working together. I appreciate what you do, and hopefully Lafayette will keep up their good work in the classroom and on the football field.
Yes, thank you, Mike. And I have to tell you, I have such fond memories of you. The fact that you're a football coach and a passionate English teacher, and when my car broke down, you'd pick me up for work. You remember that?
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to take a little break here, getting ready to start the second half. And again, we're here. The score is 42-27 in favor of Lafayette over Bryan Station. And this is the White Greer Maggard Game of the Week on PrepSpin.com.
When you're not happy with your smile,